Let's talk about integrating your purpose in your prosperity. You're a healer and you do great work in the world. And maybe you've had some success, maybe you haven't, maybe you've been struggling, maybe you think you figured it out, or you just don't have a clue about business. Or maybe you thought you found a good system you could use and it just didn't feel right. It wasn't in alignment with your holistic principles. And I have been through all of those experiences. And at some point, I signed up 50 people in a row to a 6-month package. And it was a personal evolution package, by the way, ego and emotional development, which nobody exactly wakes up in the morning and goes, oh, this is what I need. I need to clear my past and build self-esteem. And it's not something that's readily available at people's fingertips. It's not something they even think about. But I knew it was at the core of what everybody needed. But I had no clue about business either until I signed those 50 people in a row up. And I had made a lot of mistakes before then. Mistakes I hope to assist you in avoiding, frankly. And the only reason that you're watching this video and I'm on this video is because I've made more mistakes than you have. But I learned from them. And at some point, after that 50 people in a row signing up, I stopped and I said, well, I should probably figure out what I'm doing and systematize it. And that's what I've done. This is the 4th time I've taught this course over the last 6 or 8 years. It's been taught in a weekend format twice, and in an extended program, this will be the 3rd time. Oh gosh, so it's the 5th time I've taught this course in some form. It's much better suited to this format. You get time for integration. But most of what I wanted you to do is to just meet me. I'm Jason McClain. I'll be your host, your guide, your facilitator, your teacher along the way, in assisting you in integrating your purpose and your prosperity so that we can liberate the planet and you can stop worrying about whether or not you need to get a job or something like that. You should be living your purpose. I don't want you to experience that soul level ache that comes from not, because I've experienced that as well. What you're about to see is a bunch of stuff about the course, really. It's just going to talk about what we're doing in the course and why. If you have any questions at the end, I encourage you to ask me. I'm pretty accessible. Just use the contact form on this site. And I look forward to serving you and integrating your purpose and your prosperity. So let's talk about this course and the ideas that we're going to integrate your purpose, your prosperity. We're going to turn your practice into a business. But ultimately, that we're going to give you everything you need for a 6-figure business in alignment with your espoused principles, your holistic values. Now, I've heard recently somebody said, it seems too good to be true. Is there something you really believe? Can you really help people do this? Well, the short answer, of course, is of course, yes. I wouldn't be teaching the course otherwise. I certainly wouldn't be marketing it that way. But the other thing I heard was, it sounds like a get-rich-quick thing. And I thought that was funny because there's a heck of a lot of work involved. I don't want to dissuade you from the idea that you're going to have to work your tail off in the beginning. But let's just demystify the numbers, because the 6-figure practice really isn't that difficult. And so once people see these numbers, they sort of realize, oh gosh, that's pretty simple. Now there's a lot of moving parts, and I'm going to give you everything you need to handle those moving parts. But here are the numbers. Let's just demystify this thing. All you need to do is sign 2.5 clients a month to an extended package that's seeing them for 3 or 6 months. That's 12 sessions or 24 sessions at the basic hourly rate of $150 an hour. And within 6 months, you'll be on pace for $108,000 in the following fiscal year. So can you do it faster? Of course. Some of you know Destin Garrick. He's a client I had years ago. And he made $38,000 in the first 5 months. Of course, you can do it much faster. He also was incredible about doing every single thing I suggested, pretty much every way I suggested it. And if you follow the system, this is what will happen. Now, there's a lot of things that you need to do to make that happen. Where do you get the clients? How do you design the package? What's the sales system look like? Your beliefs around money and your rate and your self-worth and your worthiness to receive. Fortunately, those are all things that we cover in the course. So let's just look at what the course looks like. The first weekend begins in April. It's the 18th and 19th. All these dates, by the way, will be a Saturday and a Sunday. And we go right at your limiting beliefs, your emotions, your fear, anger, frustration, guilt, shame if you have it, any limiting beliefs. The common ones are money and spirituality are somehow in conflict, or that sales is icky in some way or has to be icky, that there's no clean way to do sales. And self-esteem, which is really probably the most important aspect, and it's always operating in the background. I can't tell you how many distinctions I've added to the body of work around self-esteem, and most people just have self-esteem, I'll just say wrong. They've got it on its head. It's other esteem. It's externally validated, and we want you to be internally validated so that you have sort of a really strong immune system for whatever happens. But also, you want to be externally referenced. We want you to be looking for results. But that practical and personal, often those are collapsed. So people take things personally. They wonder, whether or not anybody's going to value what they have to offer. Somebody doesn't sign, they get scared, whatever. And clearing out fear and certainly fear and anxiety, those two, we're going to go right at that. And I have scoured the planet for the last 20 some odd years looking for the most effective, efficient, and the least intrusive to your nervous system ways to heal you of all those things. And we'll address parental imprints about money, things like that. So that's the first weekend. It's going to be a full, actually they're all going to be full weekends. Why do we do this first? Well, if we didn't do this first, really, you would not have a clean vehicle for the rest of it. Could we move forward without clearing out fear? Sure. And then what's going to happen when you have that first client in front of you, or when you give your first presentation, or what's going to come up for you around money? Are you going to introduce your own limiting beliefs about money into the sales process? Are you going to project them onto the client? Probably. So we just have to clear all that out. Just like you wouldn't, in dating. If you were a dating or relationship coach, and somebody broke up with their significant other, you wouldn't encourage them to go date right away. Well, hopefully you wouldn't. You would first work on their grief, and you would work on the resentments perhaps they have for the gender that they were in a relationship with. You want to make sure all that's clean. You want to make sure they're clear from the former relationship. Then they can begin dating. It's not any dissimilar, really. First, we have to clear out all your stuff around money, and then we can give you the nuts and bolts around the business. So that is the first weekend. Second weekend is designing your program, your extended offering. Another way to say it is simply what you're going to be selling. That's May 16th and 17th. And I'll just say this, and I'll say it directly. There's no way to build a six-figure practice without, unless you had 5 or 6 years to do it in, then maybe you would build it, be word of mouth, be all referrals. Sure. Can you do it rapidly? Absolutely not. You certainly couldn't do it in a year. It is critical that you have this piece. This is one of the 3 critical components to build a six-figure practice. And because it seems to have been so confronting and so challenging for people to build a framework, that is something that is, intellectually compelling. People say, yeah, that makes sense. It's not detailed. It's not so detailed as to lose a lot of people. It needs to be just a basic framework so that you can flush it out with the individual client in front of you. But there will be stages and phases of the program, and I will help you design that. This is so important for people, and it seems to have been where they get the most stuck. So you're going to get a lot of attention around this from me. Then weekend 3, you are introduced to the evolutionary sales program. That whole, how did I sign 50 people in a row? It was this system, and I've systematized it. And there's scripts and language and all sorts of things you can use if you want to, but there's also structure so you understand it at the meta level, and you can flesh it out with your own style around language if you like. But the idea is that you will be able to, with an 85% certainty, you should be able to create those initial sessions that convert clients. I'll demonstrate it, by the way, twice. What's typically worked well in the past, I demonstrate it once before lunch. We go to lunch, you guys let that settle in, you let your food settle in, then we come back, I demonstrate it again, and then you guys practice it in groups of 3. There will be a client, there will be a healer, and then there will be a observer, the 3 of you, and then you'll rotate positions. You're going to get a lot of practice. the key to it is practice. So I can't stress that enough. You're also going to get all the templates I use, emails, scripts, contracts. The contract alone, by the way, could be considered worth the price of the course because, well, gosh, it's been vetted over the years. It's been added over the years. I started off with a 1.5 page agreement. It's 5 pages now. It's been vetted by 3 different attorneys, and it's a rock solid agreement. And that alone could make a difference for you. And we'll talk about how best to refer people. And you may want to be referring people to this course. So I'll just say right now, there's one effective way to refer people, and that is that you get their permission to give me their contact information and let me handle the rest. If you really want to be of service, you don't leave it up to them anyway. Plus, they get busy, they get overwhelmed, they might lose your card or my card, they'll just forget about it, and then they haven't gotten the change they wanted. And let me take all of that burden off of them. You get their permission to give me their contact information. That way you don't have to try to explain, what it is that I do, and I can explain it in a way that makes sense for them. And the website, I don't even have business cards for this very reason. That's the third weekend. You're going to learn the sales system. And then weekend 4 will be marketing and presentation skills, which is really how to find people to sell it to. Prospecting and client acquisition. That'll be July 11th and 12th. And this is the bread and butter of your business. You need to be doing 2 free workshops. Doesn't have to be in the evening, but 2 free workshops a month or 2 webinars a month. You need to be giving free accessible content. Now, a lot of people get confronted by public speaking. In fact, in America, maybe some of you read the book on phobias, little book on phobias. Public speaking is the number 1 fear in America. The number 2 fear, by the way, is death. And number 3 is spiders. So more people fear public speaking than death. I think that's funny. But part of that is because they don't have a format. We're going to give you a standard presentation format that'll allow those talks to practically write themselves. It'll be easy for you, I promise. And let me give you a secret. Nobody knows how it's supposed to go but you during those presentations. So there's really no need to be nervous. But we'll also teach you how to manage your mind. Part of the first weekend, we'll give you tools to manage your own mind. You'll understand how emotions are created and how you can access that so that you can have your mind working for you, not against you. And by the end of the weekend, you'll have designed 2 basic talks using that standard presentation format. And we'll talk about how to market them so that you actually have people there. And then the 5th weekend, August 8th and 9th, putting it all together, it's integration. This really, there's no way to overestimate how important this weekend is. You're going to get practice time. You're going to be able to ask questions about anything. We call that an open frame. Just anything that we've covered. We'll review the entire course. You'll get feedback on your packages. You'll be able to tweak those and hone them. You'll get feedback and practice on your talks if you want to. You could each give a talk, or a few of you could give a talk. And of course, we'll address any questions about marketing. But of course, there will also be a party. So you'll have developed an incredible relationship with each other over the course of the course. The promise of the course is that you'll have everything you need to build your 6-figure practice. The knowledge, the systems, the structures, as well as the tools to manage your mind to keep it working for you, not in conflict against what you desire. Whether that's dissolving that part of you that thinks that money and spirituality are somehow in conflict, rather than money is a stored value and it's an example, it's a representation of the value you've brought to people's lives. Making sure that when you're giving a presentation, your mind is imagining it going well rather than it going not well. That you have a system, a sales system that's in alignment with your holistic principles, such that no matter what happens, you know with certainty that you'll most likely sign that client because it's so clean. Because there's no fear, there's no leveraging, there's none of that icky stuff. We don't even teach how to overcome objections. And the reason that people have problems with sales is because there's a lot of icky salespeople who do a lot of icky things. We're not going to do that. We're going to give you a clean, pure system that you can use. Here's the course dates. Again, April 18th and 19th, May 16th and 17th, June 13th and 14th, July 11th and 12th, and August 8th and 9th. We're going to clean out your emotions and your beliefs, and work on your self-esteem. We're going to design your offering so you have a comprehensive package. We're going to teach you how to sell without really selling. I'll be presenting and introductory workshops, and we're going to help you put it all together so that you understand that you've got everything that you need to build your six-figure business. Here's some upcoming webinars. These are all free. They will support you in your learning. By the way, there's also webinars during the course that are included. I will always be on those webinars. I've heard that some other people who teach healers and practitioners how to build their business, you don't get as much one-on-one time with them. You're going to get a lot of access to me. There will be a Facebook group where you can ask questions, and I will be in that group. It won't be an assistant teacher, although I do have an assistant, Mr. Ryan Orrock, who will be an assistant teacher, but I will be in that group. I will be answering the questions primarily. I will be running the webinars during the course. There will be 2 every month in between the weekends to help you integrate and learn. But here is the upcoming free webinars in support of the course. Tuesday, February 24th, that one may or may not have already passed if you're watching this. And that'll be about talks and offerings. Friday, March 6th at noon, that'll be the Evolutionary Sales System. I will demonstrate that for you. And then Friday, March 13th, there's just going to be an open framed one where I'm just going to help you troubleshoot your practice. You bring me whatever weird problems you have going on, and I will provide solutions for you. I will explain things to you, how to handle it. Some of that will be communication coaching. Some of that will be, working with the way you're oriented around it to your mind. Some of it will be a deep spiritual shift for you. But bring me any of your questions. And it'll be a whole hour of me just helping people clean out their weird stuff. I just want to keep saying weird. It's like, oh, this came up, and I'll go, oh yeah, here's how you handle that. And it is a lot of fun, actually. And then Tuesday, March 24th at noon, we're going to do a webinar on beliefs, your future written in invisible ink is the way I like to think about it. And then the final one, Friday, April 3rd at noon, again, another troubleshooting your practice opportunity. Here's the thing about this course. If you sign 1 additional client to a 6-month program or 2 to a 3-month program as a result of coming to the course, it pays for itself. So it's really silly not to do this. Get the dates in your calendar. Have a conversation with me. Your next step is to contact me through the contact page on this website, or simply be at the next webinar, where I'll encourage you to do the same at the end of that one. The webinars, by the way, they're really chock full of value, these free webinars. So whether you think you're going to come to the course or not, if you're a healer or practitioner, you ought to be on the webinars. I'm Jason McClain. It's an honor to be in service of you. And thank you for your time, and I'll see you on the next webinar.